Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about some tips and tricks for the in a few hours to be released Phrecia league. I thought I would make a quick video, not just for people who haven't played Phrecia last time around, but also for, in general, what changed since last time and how Breach might interfere with what's happening. But on top of the list, there's actually something else that will be interfering, which is the fact that this time around, there will be random area modifiers. And yeah, there is a certain pool of modifiers that will brick your build that cannot randomly show up. But in general, if you remember Risk Scarabs and how the meta shaped out to be and how strong builds needed to be in order to function in that meta, you will know that you're in for a treat. So go in with that expectation and that knowledge. It's going to feel rough. Because with Risk Scarabs, you can actually choose when to use them. With this, it's just always there. And whether you're ready or not, the map mods are going to be there to, get extra damage, make enemies tankier. This info should also change the way a little bit how you approach builds. So small examples here, and there's like 100 of them. You can go through the map mods and think about them yourself. But for example, Pen or Res Invert is a lot more valuable because obviously there is the mod that gives enemies resistances. Curse Immune is more valuable because there's going to be more curses everywhere. Non-crit builds because reduced crit is one of the harshest, less damage taken modifiers. And then also stuff like CI or getting your Chaos Res up early, right? Getting your Amethyst rings early. It's going to be a lot more valuable because of the extra Chaos damage mod. And on top of that, having a plan for week 1. What I mean by that is if you're somebody who usually goes into a league and has their end game build that they want to start with, but it kind of sucks in the first few days, it will suck a lot more than usual. If you're that kind of player and you're like, oh, I'm just going to like push through for the first 3 days, you're going to be so behind. Idols make the game very snowbally, and I don't want to FOMO you here, but straight up, if you don't have a plan, think about maybe an early game. A lot of people are playing early game builds that scale up really well up to a plateau, and then they will respec, or they have different plans at different gear levels. If you usually just kind of wing it, you can, but it will feel even worse than usual, a lot worse. Because not only will you be poor, you will also not have any ways to invest into idols, which then means you can't make even more currency to farm even more idols to make even more currency and so on. Now, idol-related stuff, if you don't know what idols are, they're these things in the background and they are basically an itemized Atlas tree because the Atlas tree will be missing. And that has a few impacts. But you can see here there's different loadouts that you can use and these idols have powerful effects. And if you stack them up correctly, you're going to make way more currency than in a usual league. Now, what does this idol system do to the game, though? Map sustain will most likely be worse than usual. If you think about what you usually do on the Atlas passive tree, it is just picking all the map nodes, going up, grabbing the 20 points, right, and getting all the tier higher nodes and whatnot. Well, you can technically still do that, but most people don't. The Atlas passive tree is easy to use, but people are not really grabbing any map-related idols. So depending on who you are, you will have a worse time or not. There are map-related idol modifiers that do very similar things. And if you're not too lazy or if you actually invest a few chaos when you start mapping, you will feel the difference. And it does get better, but a lot of people have been complaining about it very early on. Now, also look out for annoying mods like Einhar Betrayal on your maps. On the Atlas passive tree, you can actually block them. But what will happen on idols is you have, for example, 4 stats, but you can't choose, you can't have perfect stats. It's never going to happen until way later, if even. So you're going to have random chance to get Einhar and chance to get Betrayal. And depending on how harsh the map modifiers are going to hit, that might make your map significantly harder. Or for example, if you're farming essences and now all of a sudden you have like beast essences everywhere and it takes forever to kill them, then yeah, look out for those mods on your idols. They're most likely downsides. Now, idols do change item progression. There is a weird trade-off here to be made because your character is usually where you put all your money in, and then the Atlas passive tree just gets unlocked with you getting stronger, right? You get stronger, you unlock more points, right? It's a pretty easy system. But with idols, not so much. There will come a point where you will have to decide, do I want to make my character stronger or do I want to invest into idols? And if you're somebody who does not like to invest into idols, my next point here is invest into idols. You really, really should. It is everything. It is absolutely broken, and it's hard for me to make you understand until you've tried it out yourself. This connects back to the point that I made up top, which is have a plan for week 1. If you have a more efficient build early on, you don't need as much currency, and you can put the rest of your currency into your idols. Once again, FOMO is a thing in this league, and it is what it is because the snowball will start rolling and people will be printing currency, and you want to be at least prepared for that. Idols are also very nice against inflation because, well, there's going to be more and more currency, more and more stuff, but the idols themselves are always going to be valuable. And that's also, I guess, something I should harp on is if you invest into your idols, it's not like investing into scarabs where you just lose them after a map. You always have them. You can even, once you're done with your strat, sell them all again. And this thing where idols are permanent makes strats a little bit different as well, because if you think about scarabs, and scarabs are still in the game, don't get me wrong, but the Atlas passive tree is not on the power level of Phrecia. Phrecia is a different kind of beast, which means that if we're, for example, saying a scarab, right? There might be a scarab that you really want to use. For example, Awakening Scarab. But you can't, because there's one way to use it, and that is the only way, right? Because now you get priced out of it. Maybe your way is a little bit less efficient, but it is faster. But it is, you pay on a per map basis. So you cannot run it. It is priced around this other strat that's better. That does not really happen in Phrecia. Obviously, the more wanted an idol is, the higher the price. But after you paid the price, it doesn't matter whether you do 100 maps an hour or you do 2 maps an hour and they're juicy. You can kind of sculpt, like you could, not saying this is good, but you could literally run into a map with full strong boxes and just like pick and choose and then portal out. Obviously, you will be using both in end game. I'm just trying to make you understand how this will change some farming strats, especially early and mid game. And I want to remind people that you can gamble for idols, at least as far as we're aware right now. It should still be Faustus right here. Gamble for items is either going to be here or on page 5. And that has a big impact because gambling for idols is actually quite strong. So 2x2 idols especially are really wanted. There's a good chance that in endgame, that's going to be where you spend all your gold. And this makes high gold strats like Beyond or Blight and tier 17s more valuable because you now have a gold outlet that could directly translate into big currency. The amount of times I've sold 20 plus divine idols, 2x2 idols last Phrecia was pretty crazy. So yeah, it's just really strong. Now, this could also have a random side effect where other uses of gold are not going to be used as often. For example, if people are inclined to spend their money on idols, they might not be inclined to send as many shipments or upgrade their city. I know you have to upgrade it to start gambling, but yeah, that might still be a thing. Especially think about this if you are relying on a rune graft like the forked rune graft or the slower rune graft. They might be a lot more expensive than usual. And then some Breach related stuff because we're going to have Breach League as well. Now, the first thing is it has been now confirmed that the 5-link stuff, I couldn't find the original thread, but it has been confirmed that there are placed encounters like in PoE 2 where you get free 5 links, guaranteed 5 links. The first place is Slave Pens where if you do the Breach encounter, you get a free 5 link. The same thing happens in Act 6 Twilight Strand where you do your side quest for Lily. And, well, it's still random, so you can't guarantee the colors. You can't guarantee if it's the right base for the colors that you want. It is what it is. I would definitely do both. Now, for people who are already versed in Breach and who have been doing Breach already while leveling on their first playthrough or their first league start, know that the tree gives you early 5 and 6 links anyways if you do them, and you should be doing it. That's my second point, which is if you get the extra links and the extra points. So these small nodes, and then also this node right here. Birthed equipment rolls sockets and links 150 times, keeping the best outcome. You're going to get a lot of 6 link and a lot of 5 links. I think I had my 6 link at roundabout level 60 and my 5 link, I think level 35. So if you don't want to engage with that, sure, you're just going to pick up a 6 link for cheaper than usual and then get your free 5 links in those zones. I would still highly recommend to do Breach for a while, although I don't know if Phrecia being this juicy means this is kind of irrelevant, but you do at least want to get your grafts. Grafts are incredibly strong from the get-go. So I mean mudflats. You get a graft, you get some mods on them, they do something, whether it's damage, which is actually noticeable early on, or some kind of buffs. Do also remember that a lot of people are going to play ES as is tradition, but especially this patch with like Bog Shaman and also EB being pretty huge, speccing into some ES gear is definitely not a bad idea. And from what I've seen, I probably wouldn't go for Energy Shield evasion gear. I would just go for Energy Shield gear, but we'll have to see how the meta shakes up. This is just personal opinion. And yeah, grafts are also OP for endgame, although more for stuff like buffs or the tornado that can be hit multiple times, Or there's also defensive options. As this post by Ashamed Complaint 690 outlines, there is some really nice defensive options, especially Molten Xoth Graph, which I'm going to be using with Heart of Flame. This basically gives you another Molten Shell with the levels scaling how much shield you're getting, and you can get 100% uptime with Runegraft of the Warp. If you don't know what Runegraft of the Warp is, it is the one that makes your debuffs on you expire faster and buffs expire slower. So that's going to be on you for longer. This is especially important for builds that will have, I don't know, damage reduction layers, but then also like 4 or 5k life. This can literally double your HP pool, and especially with extra difficulty and harder modifiers, this might be how you actually want to spend your graft instead of maybe, I don't know, Radiant Ground, a button that's not always up or whatever. This will be always up. But that's about all I got. I personally cannot wait for Phrecia, especially now with instant trading. The recomps changed a little bit, so that's going to be interesting. But we'll have to see. I will be putting out update videos for my build guide. Well, not really guide, but I'm going to play Kinetic Fusillade Ballistas. And we're going to see where it goes. Most likely going to go into a stat stacker later. Over on twitch.tv/Palsteron, I will be streaming throughout the next 2 to 3 weeks. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe you have some more tips that you leave down below in the comments, especially people who played a lot of Phrecia last time around. And yeah, hope you guys have a great league start. And since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.